Alright guys, part 2. Alright, for those who didn't see my last video on Cobra Kai, I was being very nice to the show, and as you can tell from the comment section, I got absolutely fucking tossed around. The link to that video should be in the description, but basically what I said in that video is part 1 was pretty disappointing in my opinion. I recently did rewatch part 1 and found a bit of new love for it, but overall I thought the part was pretty lackluster. I thought they were repeating a lot of storylines, and I thought some storylines were literally so absurd that it had me questioning my life's choices. Alright, so since part 1 had me wanting to fucking destroy my laptop, how is part 2? And I can safely say that part 2 is actually good? Like, don't get me wrong, it comes with its stupid shit that I'll talk about in this video. Nothing's safe from my fucking wrath. But part 2 is actually very enjoyable. I said this in my previous video, but all I wanted from part 2 was just pure Cobra Kai. And that's what we got. No more stupid shit like going to your fucking granddad who's like 100 years old and trying to get a knife by cutting a cobra's head off. No more of that. We're just at the pure tournament having absolute fun. Okay, maybe fun's not the right word because it ends in a very, not fun way. Miguel's back might actually break again by how much fucking carrying he did this part. Miguel's journey was easily the best part about part 2. I was so solely focused on him throughout the part because a lot of characters were genuinely annoying me this part, and we'll get into it. I really enjoyed the fact that even though Miguel wasn't captain, he was like, okay, I'm still gonna get this team to the fucking finals if it's the last thing I do. And you see him do that. Like, look, believe me, I've read these comments like,
you're a Miguel Glazer.
You cannot tell me that you slightly went crazy when he 2v1. You can't tell me you didn't. Like, run the replay. Look at this shit. I especially really loved how Robbie and Miguel had that interesting kind of rivalry during part 2 where it's like, yo, just hand it over and admit I'm the better fighter. And I love that they took their time with Robbie slowly becoming the leader he should be during the tournament, because it wasn't right after Miguel was like handed over. No, it happened like 2 episodes after that. Now this was the part I was kind of intrigued by, because I was like, there's no way they kill another parent in the same season, which thank God they didn't. But I kind of sat there and went like, what was the point of this? Like, I guess they have a new reason to win the tournament, but like that was always the reason. Like, I don't know why this really happened, I guess. Like, don't get me wrong, it's definitely the best part about episode 8. Like, seeing that moment between Miguel and Johnny calling him his son. Like, man, you gotta, like, damn, bro. But I guess Robbie and winning just did not match well this part, because holy shit. I get the arc they were trying to go with Robbie, but it genuinely annoyed me after like episode 7 that it just continuously kept happening. Robbie's arc this part is that Tori switched sides, so he's not fine with it. Anytime he's fighting, all he thinks about is Tori. And I get that, that's fine. But why is it every single time? And I thought that they made Robbie kind of intentionally stupid for some reason. In episode 6, for some odd, stupid reason, he thought it was a good idea. You know what? Let me gamble our hotel room. And then he blames it on the rest of them like, oh, I told you should have stayed away from Cobra Kai. But definitely as the part goes on, you start to enjoy Robbie's arc a lot more. You start to see him finally become a captain, but it does come with its flaws. I don't like the fact that they had to do the whole like Zara and Robbie thing. Like, that was so pointless in my opinion. Like, I get it was to build conflict between Zara and Tori, but like I felt like the conflict was already there because Zara was jealous of Tori. Another thing that was useless this part was genuinely Johnny and Daniel's bickering. So you remember that thing about episode 5 that I told you was fucking useless and you guys butchered me and executed me in the comments for? Well, yeah, that shit ends in about an episode. Besides that, I thought Johnny was also the second strongest character this part. Like, I genuinely enjoyed that moment between him and Devin, and I thought that moment was really, really nice. The moments where Johnny was senseiing alone were genuinely so nice to see, because like he's like, I believe in every bone in my body that you guys can do this. That was really heartwarming. But obviously back to stupid shit. Chosen is so on my nerves this part for some reason. Like, I kind of found him annoying after a bit because it's kind of like, oh, Kimiko, and then he just sleeps with the Cobra Kai sensei. That's honestly why episode 8 is definitely the weakest of the episodes. Like, realize how the only episode without the tournament is the weakest episode of the part. Wow, look, another returning villain. Yay. I'm fine with it, I guess. Silver is cool, but like, can we never just stick to finalizing a story? Like, it genuinely feels like a spit in the face every time a character returns or another arc repeats itself, because like, what the hell was the point of it before then? Like, literally, season 6 starts off with Cobra Kai in the bin, but now they're all here. And holy shit, they had the nuggets to do it. Apparently, they had a reason for Kreese not getting fucking arrested the second he landed in Barcelona or Korea. And that's because, well, you thought they wouldn't drop my charges? I was wrongly imprisoned. Fair enough, I guess. They gave a reason. You know what? I have a fun section. Let's call it a whole bunch of stupid shit. How did Daniel and everyone else not know that Silver had his court case dismissed 3 months prior to the tournament if it was such a big deal that they put it on the newspapers? And also, how the fuck did Tori telepathically come in the right time that Zara and Robbie kissed? This is just a personal one, but why the hell is Axel mad that he tried to kiss Miguel's girlfriend? Like, brother, what? And I might actually tweak after this one. How in the hell did Silver even know or even have an inkling that Daniel was having problems with Miyagi? Dimitri getting mad at Hawk for cheating is fucking crazy to me. Like, what did you think would happen? Like, seriously, what did you think? I'm sorry, but why would Sam attempt to listen to Johnny here if she thought he was wrong? Like, if you thought he was wrong, just stick to your gut and do what you do best. Like, you did that in the season for All Valley, so why would you get mad here? Robbie, what the fuck are you doing? He tagged you in. Don't just stand there and say, yo man, what the hell? Fight! Okay, I think that's most of it. I think narratively, the structure of this part was a lot better than part 1, because this part knew what it wanted to do. It knew that they were just going to revolve around the tournament and the things that happen outside the tournament, rather than part 1 jumping around a lot of things. And for the most part, it definitely does work. I think the things outside of the tournament were definitely the weakest. Like, I genuinely don't even know how to feel about the Miyagi plot at this point. Like, it definitely does get interesting once you slowly see what happens and you find out, like, oh, he was involved in a murder during the Sekai Taikai. But, like, why would Daniel even attempt to do any of this? Like, Cobra Kai has done some pretty absurd stuff, but, like, the fact that he was put in a cage and then used a keychain of Jesus to get out of the chain is just, like, I didn't think that would happen, but here we are. Good God, the fights in this part. I think every episode had easily a top 10 fight of everything. Like, I don't even know how to put it in words. Like, the insane choreography from everyone is beyond anything. Like, bro, I can't even get off my chair, like, let alone walk. I think easily the best fights of this part have to be the Miyagi-Do versus the Dublin Thunders, the Miyagi-Do versus that other dojo where they got their redemption arc, Miyagi-Do versus Cobra Kai, and then the brawl at the end. Holy. It's kind of funny to me that Quan is pretty much the version of Miguel, Robbie, and Hawk if they all just stuck to Kreese's words. Quan is a funny character because he's not like a super angry character. He's kind of a mix of both. Like, he's pretty hilarious. Like, he's a dickhead in the most funny way, and that's why I really enjoy him. And in the tournament, he just, like, damn. The fight between Robbie and Quan has to be easily the one of the best fights in the show, mixed with that, oh my, bro, play the part of the soundtrack in that fight. I I think the tournament this season has to be some of the most interesting things the show has attempted. I really like the ideas like Captain's War, the tag teams, the fighting on the platforms, like things like that were really just fun stuff to see. I think my favorite easily being the tag team, just because of the stuff they pulled in the fight scenes, because they were beyond what I expected. I think Tori going to Cobra Kai was definitely not used enough in this part. It was made like such a big deal at the end of part 1 that it really isn't like emphasized enough in this part. Like it's only really emphasized through Robbie. Like no other character really cares, I guess, besides Sam maybe. And it's not like it really mattered because Tori doesn't even like anyone in the dojo. She's just there to win because she didn't think that she would have a fair chance at Miyagi-Do. Hey, I'm really happy that they actually managed to resolve the Devin and Kenny thing pretty well. And at the same time, they also sorted out the They also managed to sort out the Kenny and Anthony kind of rivalry. So that was all pretty nice to see. Oh no. Well, this was an unexpected kind of turn in the show, but it honestly leaves me with like one question. Why did this happen? Like, don't get me wrong, the moment's cool and I'm curious to see what they do with it in part 3, but why? Like, I'd understand if they did it in another season, but why in the final season? Because now they backed themselves in a corner where it's like, okay, someone died at the tournament, so realistically, the next thing that should happen is the tournament gets fucking terminated. I really do not like Dimitri this part. I think the way they handled Hawk and Dimitri's kind of small bickering was really funny. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I chuckled a lot when they were doing stuff like whoever smelt it dealt it, whoever did the rhyme did the crime. Like, I don't know why that made me chuckle, but Dimitri stoops to such a dumb level this part where, like, not only is he annoying because he's constantly like, oh well, I'm going to MIT, but he literally just does stupid things. And also, why even assume Kenny did anything wrong? What? I'm happy they resolved their issues together, but they seriously butchered Dimitri for like no reason this part. One thing I am really curious about is the whole Kreese and Silver kind of dynamic going into part 3, because we knew what Kreese wanted to do. So I'm curious if he's still gonna go towards his plan of wanting to, you know what, like, put down the dog, you know. If I can't say the word on YouTube because they will put me down. I'm happy that they finally realized that Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do aren't the only tournaments in the world, or my brain is dojos in the world, because like in the first episode of part 2, you just see Cobra Kai get absolutely slapped on. Like, the Iron Dragons are literally made of iron because no one could even fucking touch them. But I am genuinely curious about the matchups going into part 3. I think what I genuinely want realistically to happen is Miguel versus Axel, maybe Robbie versus Axel, Sam versus Tori again for like the 800th time, Zara versus Tori, and I genuinely don't know. Like, I don't see the matchups right now. The part ends off in such a curious way that I'm not even sure what they're gonna do in part 3. Wow, I totally remember that guy from Karate Kid Part 3. Thank you for telling me that. One thing I really loved were the locker room scenes, especially the last one they did. I'm happy that they finally realized, like, this is the final season. Let's treat it as it is the final season. And they give us a really nice moment between all the characters. It's definitely one of the standout scenes and everyone really crushes it. One thing I was really shocked by in the show is that I thought they were finally done with Cobra Kai. I thought the show finally actually did it. But no, and they came back right after that. I don't know what the show's obsession with, oh, we beat Cobra Kai, psych, no you didn't. And I thought they ended it off with such a great way, like that. Bro, I will endlessly talk about that Miyagi-Do versus Cobra Kai fight, because it's so sick. Like, you go from them tag teaming with each other, then like Miguel comes in, and then the Robbie versus Quan fight, and like the score is going crazy. Like, this is the things we need. And obviously I couldn't go without mentioning the brawl at the end of the part. Look, I really like the brawl, but it goes under the category of why did this happen? Like, seriously, why? Like, what were the dodo, yeah, oh my god. What were the dojos thinking when the guy took the mic and went like, yeah! Like, the brawl is really sick, don't get me wrong. Like, it goes on for like a solid 20 minutes of pure action, but like, why? And look what happened. A kid fucking dies at the end. But hey guys, don't worry. They chased chickens and held rocks. They really prepared for death. But I genuinely am happy that the brawl went through so many matchups. Like, it also leaves me questioning whether or not Tori is just gonna switch dojos again, because it seems by the end of it that she's fine with everyone. I think to wrap up this segment of part 2, I think all I really have to say is I think Hawk didn't have, like, really any redeeming qualities this part. Like, they treat him once again as like a punching bag that's in his first ever karate match. I think Robbie and Kenny once again not having a scene together is so stupid after all the effort Robbie put into having him in Miyagi-do. I really do love the scene before the redemption arc for Miyagi-Do where Miguel and Robbie are just talking and Miguel's like, bro, you're a natural born leader, and that's where Robbie genuinely becomes the leader he was meant to be. I found it really funny that the show also in like, I get there was a gap in between episodes, but why does the show make it feel like in universe there was also a gap? Like episode 6 treats us like we're idiots that don't remember what happened an episode ago. And yeah, I think that's really it for part 2. Yes, it was very enjoyable. Yes, I would consider it good. Yes, it has very stupid shit inside of it. But for the most part, I really did enjoy this part. Okay, now the big question. What the actual fuck is gonna happen in part 3? With the way things ended with the, let's say the accidental kill, it leaves the tournament in a very interesting plot where it's like, will the tournament go on? Will we still stay in Barcelona? Will everyone just leave and we're just gonna continue on with the fallout of Kwan's death? What I personally think will happen is that the tournament will most likely continue, but in a very different way. With Kwan being gone, I think Miguel might actually go to Cobra Kai for the captain's spot. Part 2 put such an emphasis on Miguel winning. Like, they said it. They were like, Miguel's gonna win, and the only way he can win is if he's captain. Yes, again, it's a repetitive storyline of, oh yeah, they switched dojos, but I can definitely see it happening. I also have this strong sinking feeling that the Miyagi-Do plot is just not gonna end off well. Like, I really don't know what the resolution of this plot's gonna be, but I really hope it's something along the lines of, yeah, Mr. Miyagi was a bad guy, but he wasn't the bad guy that I remember. And as for how the show is gonna end, I most likely think that there will definitely be a scene of all of them just separating, probably going to university. I don't think they're gonna do something like, oh, 20 years later, here they are with their own dojos. But I definitely do think the show will once again end with Miguel versus Robbie in a captain's fight. And I don't know why, I have this sinking feeling that Johnny and Daniel will fight again as well. I'm not entirely sure why I feel like this, but I feel like it will happen just to end the argument of who's better. And speaking of that topic, I genuinely do not like interacting with this community. It's honestly upsetting how low the community can get. Like, people continuously argue with each other, and I hate that I included myself in this with like my last 2 Cobra Kai videos. But I hate the fact of like, oh, but this character was nerfed, no, this guy is better. It's a fucking show. Just watch it. Like, please, at this point, like, if bro, I'm sorry, but if I see one more comment, like, or thing, people calling each other glazers or something, or blaming it on plot armor, I might just actually just quit. Like, the show's not even sure who's a better fighter. Can we just stop with these arguments? Yeah, but, Cobra Kai Part 2, I give it a very good thumbs up. And, yeah, well, that's it. Like, comment, and all that shit. And I'll see you guys when part 3 comes around. So yay!